Hello everybody. Today I'm trying a different style of video, and this will be a top 10 list about a single great video game where I select a classic title and review the top 10 awesome factors that I believe make the game legendary and worthy of induction into my video game Hall of Fame. The inaugural inductee, well, it's one of my favorite games of all time, actually, Civ 5, developed by Sid Meier and released by Firaxis Games in 2010. Civ 5 is a 4X turn-based strategy game, and there are many, many reasons why I believe it's one of the best video games ever made. I've been playing it for years, and I continue to do so even today, even with 6 being a thing and all. I still love number 5. This picture is me playing about 7 years ago, hot seat with a coworker while on the clock at work. That screen was normally used for bus times and schedules, by the way. Anyway, without further ado, here are the top 10 reasons why you just have to love Civ 5. Just to note, some of these factors cite specific details, while others may refer to more general impressions. So the top 10 reasons to love Civ 5 are, number 10. Might surprise you, but I'm going to go with the Gods and Kings expansion upgrade that came out in 2012. More specifically, I'll cite the faith/religion creation feature as being particularly innovative, enjoyable, and playable. In 2012, this was something completely different from anything else I'd ever seen before. I remember hearing about it and being so skeptical initially. Like, how do you model anything as abstract as faith in a game? That didn't make sense to me until I tried it, and I was like, wow, this is actually pretty funny. The religious buildings, items, cultural implications are all there. The great prophets, inquisitors. It's also unbelievably clever, I find. And the most amazing thing of all is they pull it off without being controversial or offensive. So you select the tenets of your belief system, or if you aren't down with the whole religion program, you can just ignore that aspect of the game altogether or actively fight against it. And this was just one piece of Gods and Kings, and yet the whole thing was just a huge hit for me. Number 9, the AI. My initial impression of the AI was to say, okay, it's serviceable, not bad. Considering the overall complexity of the game, though, I would say it's actually pretty impressive. It's especially fascinating the way the bots and different computer powers attack each other, expand, and wage war off-screen, and battle and struggle without direct human interaction. Over the years, various patches and upgrades cleaned up and buffed the AI to the extent that it wouldn't fall as flat with naval units, and it could snipe weak human player units, as well as use terrain to its advantage. So overall, an adjusted AI in Civ 5 will present players with many difficult choices throughout the course of the game. And what more can you ask for, honestly? Number 8. I'll go with the gameable concept of culture in Civ 5. What is culture? What is culture to you? Amazingly, this game lets you define it and then build it. You have so many different options and actions that create cultural currency, and these are further developed and channeled by social policies that evolve and upgrade. You get great music, art, writing, and things like that, and it's also fun and rewarding to find out what great work of art will get put in your museums. What exactly will it be? Overall, the culture model of Civ 5 is fantastic, period. Number 7, the graphics. The game is 12 years old and it still looks good to me. The sprite animations are good. The visuals, I think, are spot on. The images of the wonders are really good. The map tiles, the animations of the whales, fish, and all that stuff is great. The presentation of the menus, all the iconography works well and is sensible. The whole game is pleasing to look at, from workers mining or farming all the way to dropping atomic bombs and watching the fireball mushroom clouds form. All of it looks great. I even prefer the overall look of 5 over 6 because of the cartoonish vibe of 6. Anyway, I'm old school, so I think the graphics of Civ 5 are great. Number 6, the sound effects and music. The impressive thing about the sound effects is the way they synchronize with the player's manipulation of the map. If your cursor lingers near a pig, you hear a pig or horse or whatever, city sounds, children playing, crowds bustling. Cursor moves to an unexplored tile and you get howling wind across empty tundra. It's so immersive. The implementation of sound is remarkable. And let's be honest, the game has amazing music. It's got orchestra pieces, danger music, music themed to particular powers. The music ramps tension, or it can seem celebratory. Play Civ 5 with good headphones and tell me what you think. So, number 5 is the exploring part of Civ 5. The exploring is especially exciting at the very beginning. You have no idea what's around you, finding natural wonders, ancient ruins, resources, city-states, or other powers, whatever. It's all interesting. And the coolest thing of all is if you play continents after your initial landmass is accounted for, you get to re-experience another round of exploration / colonization when you evolve to the point where you can sail across large bodies of water instead of just hugging the shores of your native continent. What will you find? Hopefully an uninhabited landmass with luxury resources where you can start a colony without much interference from rival powers. A large part of the enjoyment people get out of Civ 5 is derived from the exploration, I would think. So number 4 is the technology tree. Playing for new tech is so addictive in this game. I'm just going to play until I get mathematics so I can build catapults. Meanwhile, like 3 hours later, you're still playing. And I know a guy, he was in university and he had an exam the next morning and he hadn't studied at all. And he decides to play a few turns, he told me, of Civ before cracking a textbook. Gets right into it. Just got to take another city. Just got to finish building the pyramids. And next thing he knows, he looks out the window and the sun is coming up. He gamed the whole night and didn't realize it. Anyway, the technology tree is the main attraction for most people, I'm guessing. Everyone has an angle they play. Get to the atomic bomb the fastest any way that you can, maybe. Anyway, it's really good, thoughtful, and creative. The timeline of the game itself is separated into individual technological eras, which impact the availability of certain units and broader Civ bonuses. So everything about tech is relevant, especially like how if your civilization has negative GDP, technology points get eaten up. Anyway, for many people, the technological progression is the main draw. The way it develops here, I think, is awesome. You can further adjust and augment the base tech tree with different mods, and some of these are insanely cool. However, I always love the part of the game when you first get horses, or you get them before one of your human opponents, if you're playing on hot seat or opposed online. It's kind of a big deal. The point is, everyone has a favorite tech or strategy with the tree. So, moving on. Number 3 is the warfare. I like building the units, fighting barbarians, getting promotions, using terrain advantages. Players have so many options and choices with respect to combat, unit types, and formations of units, where and when to deploy them, against which adversary. It's all up to you. As the game wears on, it gets more complicated, obviously, with naval power, air power, even nukes. My favorite formation is the 4 siege engines behind 4 or 5 melee units to take a city. But everyone has their favorite deployment arrangement. Early game, I find that in the ancient era, the bow and arrow is particularly effective. Number 2, scalability. Civ 5 scales so well. You can play compressed games, short games, where you blast through the timeline. You can play fewer opponents, more or less city-states. You can play set-piece contained scenarios or open-style contests on gigantic maps with the maximum number of computer-controlled opponents. Anything you want, you can have with Civ 5. No 2 games will ever be the same, ever. My favorite way to play is Marathon. Huge map, continents, level 7, immortal. On Marathon, each era could take like 10 to 12 hours of gaming, so I try to break up my sessions over many, many days. It feels more epic that way. With respect to difficulty setting, I find the hardest level is annoying in that I get the impression the computer is always cheating. Like city-states will have wimpy cities, but somehow they can field gigantic modern armies with the latest tech. Anyway, my favorite Civ 5 games are always against human opponents, hot seat, in person. And at the very beginning, you agree to attack each other on site. It's a fight to the death, no peace treaties or ceasefires. That's always really fun. You just go at each other from the start and don't let up until one side is defeated. Usually you wear each other down until a stronger third-party computer player rolls up and gets involved, and that's always really funny. And the absolute best reason to love this awesome game, coming in at number 1, are the mods available on Steam for Civilization 5. I'm not joking, there are like thousands of mods for this game. Thousands. Some of these are mind-blowing. I love the mods. What are some of the ones that you like? I go with Paleolithic mod, where you start at 50,000 BC. You have mammoths, cave bears, wild men, like beast men, barbarians, everything. I like the extra countries. I always play Canada. I like the Wonder military units. Like, you can get a mod where you can create like the 300 Spartans, Trojan horses, stuff like that. I like the Palace expansion mini game. I also load up with extra wonders, Area 51, Voyager spacecraft, the space shuttle, Hollywood, all of them. The only drawback is you can actually overdose on the mods and the game could become unstable and start crashing. Many mods also screw up the save game feature, so you also have to be aware of that. So yeah, I'm always looking for suggestions about like a tight package of mods that will create just a really cool scenario or setup. So if you have a suggestion, just leave in the comments. So there you have it. Civ 5 is one of the best video games ever made. And he only gave you 10 reasons why. There's so many more. What did I miss? Help me out in the comments. Sid Meier, Firaxis are legendary in the gaming community. Civ 5 is an absolute masterpiece. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content coming soon.